Hey everyone, I want to take a couple minutes and just go through how to evaluate trig functions with a calculator. So I've got my calculator here, and before we start putting in degrees for my angles, I need to make sure my calculator is in degrees. So I hit my mode button and I'm going to go down here and highlight degree. So I'm in degree mode. Second quit to get out. And now I'm going to find the cosine of 15.3. So all I do is type cosine 15.3. I can close the parentheses or not, hit enter, and there's the cosine of 15.3 degrees. So the next one, that's a decimal degree. The next one is the sine of 24 degrees 32 minutes. So we're going to type sine. We're going to need 24 degrees, so 24, then you need to do second and your angle menu to put in the degree. Then we're going to type in 32 minutes, again, second angle. Number 2 is the minutes. I'm going to close the parentheses, hit enter, and my answer is going to be 0.4152. Now, another way you can do that if you're not using the symbols is you can type sine, and then we can take 24 plus, because the 24 is the degrees, and then I'm going to take the 32 minutes and put it over 60. So 32 divided by 60, hit enter, and I get the same thing. So as you can see over here in our overhead masters, I showed both ways. All right, and now the next one is a little bit tricky because it's a secant. And now you'll notice over here on your calculator, you've got sine, cosine, and tangent. You do not have a secant button. So what you need to remember is the identity that says this: the secant of an angle is 1 over the cosine of that angle. So for my problem here, the secant of 46 degrees is 1 over the cosine of 46 degrees. So we can do that a couple different ways. The first way is just to do the fraction 1 divided by the cosine of 46 equals 1.4396. The other way would be to use this button right here, which is our reciprocal button. This will do the same thing as typing 1 over the cosine of 46 degrees. So what I can do instead is say cosine of 46, close my parentheses, and then take the reciprocal, and I'll get the same thing. Now, if you don't close the parentheses, it's going to take the cosine of 1 over 46. And that's not what we want. We want the cosine of 46, the reciprocal of that. So in this case, a lot of times, notice here I didn't put the parentheses in. A lot of times you can get away with that. But in this case, I need the parentheses so that it calculates the correct thing. Okay, so let's move on to a couple other examples just to have you work them out. My next page here, let's just look at a few of these to make sure that you can do them right. Actually, let's do all of them. So the first one would be the tangent of 45.67. Pretty easy. I get 1.023665 and so forth. This next one is cosecant. That's 1 over sine. So I can either type 1 divided by the sine of 65, which gives me that, or I can just do the sine of 65, close my parentheses, and hit the reciprocal button, and I get the same thing. Either one will work. And for this one, the secant, remember that's 1 over cosine. So I think what I'll do is I'll do the cosine, and that's 40 degrees. So 40, and then the angle menu, 1 to put the degrees on. 32 minutes, So that's number 2 there. 23 seconds. Now remember, the seconds is the alpha plus. I'm going to close my parentheses. Oh, looks like I have an extra parentheses. So I'm going to make sure all my parentheses match. Then I'm going to take the reciprocal button and I'm going to get my answer of 1.3159. Okay. So now let's look at radian mode. So if I put my calculator in radian mode, I go to mode and I go down here, and now it's expecting everything to be in radians. So let's get out of that and clear it. So I can do the sine of pi over 4. And now remember that pi is second caret, there's my pi, divided by 4 equals. And there's the sine of pi over 4. All right, next we're going to do the secant of 5 pi over 3. So that's like we did before. You're going to do 1 over the cosine. So I can type 1 divided by the cosine of 5 pi over 3. Now, what I'm doing this on is a TI-84 Plus Silver Edition, so it doesn't have the math print. It just has the classic print. So it's going to look a little bit different than actually showing you the fractions. But my answer that I get here is 2. And that's the secant of 5 pi over 3. Now you can do what's called mixed mode. Now again, notice here that I'm in radian mode, but I can find the sine of, in this case, I can find the sine of 34 degrees even though I'm in radian mode if I put the symbol there. So I'm going to go out of here and I'm going to do the sine of 34, second angle, put in my degree symbol, close my parentheses, and I will get the correct answer, 0.5592. So that means if I'm in radian mode, I can still enter a degree, but then I have to put the degree symbol. And the same would be true the other way. Let's see, we did the sine of pi over 4 already, and we did it in radian modes. So let me go here and change the mode to degree, and I'm going to do the sine of pi over 4. And now here I need to be careful with my parentheses. I need to type the sine of pi over 4, and I'm going to put that pi over 4 in parentheses. Second pi divided by 4. I need to put the pi over 4 in parentheses so it's a single quantity. Now I'm going to do my angle menu, and number 3 is radians. So I've got pi over 4 radians, hit enter, and it's the same answer that we had before. But it's important that you have parentheses and then put your radians in. If you put the little r right after the 4, then it will give you the wrong answer. It needs to be on the entire angle, the entire pi over 4. Okay, so that should do it for working with your calculator to find all the 6 trig values, whether you have decimal degrees, degrees, minutes, seconds, or radians.